Hi, I'm back. Woo! I didn't mean to be gone for this long. I took a definitely unexpected break. Um, kind of give you a recap of what happened. I had a falling out with a very close friend. I lost my great grandmother, everyone close to. Finishing high school, trying to process the fact I'm an adult and that life change, and I've had lots of kind of back-to-back depressive episodes, and it's been a lot. And I just haven't had the motivation, or when I have the time, to sit down and record a video. So, I'm back! This is actually my second time recording this video, because I somehow managed to completely erase half of the video file. So yeah, this is my coming out video. If you only want to watch, when I do crime and you don't really care about any of this, that's fine. Comment down below what different cases you'd like me to cover, like I did in my other videos. And, yeah. So this is my coming out video. It's gonna be kind of really loose and weird, and like in every other video I've done, I will be doing my makeup. When I was younger, I never really fit in with the other girls. I didn't really want to be friends with them. I didn't understand how to be friends with them. I didn't want to play how they played, and I never really wanted to dress how they dressed. I just didn't really fit in with the girls. So all of my friends were always guys. I would play with the boys. I'd play with the same toys the boys did. I want to play sports with them, gym with them. I always wanted to be around them and no one else. I always thought it's just because, I just couldn't get along with other girls. And I thought maybe it's because of drama aspects, or I don't know. I never really knew why. I just knew I didn't get along with the other girls. So, around second grade, I didn't quite understand what gay was. I didn't know what gay was. In fact, I didn't know until middle school. I didn't know what gay was. I didn't know what bi was. I knew nothing about the LGBT plus community. I grew up in a very religious household, and that stuff wasn't really talked about. No one ever told me about it, and I very much wasn't explained. But in around second grade, I decided, and the most logical thing to me as a kid was everyone was attracted to both guys and girls. But only guys and girls could date because that's how babies were made. I didn't know the concept of sex, really. I mean, I knew the concept of it, but I didn't understand what it was. And I just knew guy, girl, baby. That's all I knew. And so, I just assumed only guys and girls could date. And I went on with it. In 5th grade, one of my friends, we will call her Millie, that's not her real name, but we're going to call her Millie, told me that she was bi, because she mentioned something about liking one of our other friends, who we will call Mary. So Millie liked Mary, and she told me she was bi, and I was like, well, what's bi? I had never heard of that label before, and I had no clue what it was. She explained it to me as liking both guys and girls, and I immediately said, oh, I'm bi. That's what I am. And she said, oh, wait, really? And I was like, yeah. I didn't know there was a word for it. I never told anyone except for like people at school, because I didn't really think it was important. Again, to me, now knowing one of my friends was bi and I was bi, I just assumed everyone was, or it was really normal. I obviously quickly figured out not everyone was bi, but I didn't understand the concept of homophobia, transphobia, or any of that. The only form of transphobia I've ever experienced was internalized transphobia, which we'll get into later. But I didn't quite understand the concept of people not being okay with being gay. So, middle school rolls around, 7th grade. I start to question my gender a lot. At first, I thought it was trans. I thought I was a boy. But then thought, oh, but I'm still feminine. I still like doing feminine things. I can't be a boy. So I tried to find other labels that fit me. I used gender fluid for a good while. And then I found the term non-binary, which means I didn't identify as any binary gender. And I stuck with it. Because I didn't feel like a girl, but I couldn't be a boy if I still liked doing girly things, like, makeup or playing with dolls. Obviously, I was just a girl, or I wasn't a girl, but I just wasn't a boy. And so, that's the label I used. And I used it for a while, actually. And this is around the time when I switched my label from bisexual to pansexual. I figured this out fairly quick, but being in a religious household, I never mentioned it because the middle school is also when I realized that my Catholic family and my Catholic church was not supportive of who I was. They weren't supportive of a lot of things that I was into, or that I liked, or what I identified as. Me and my grandmother, who I lived with at the time, got into a discussion about trans people, and I mentioned how I didn't think they were doing anything wrong. And she was like, what do you mean they're not doing anything wrong? God made them perfect how they were supposed to be. So why would a girl want to become a boy? You have a girl's brain. And obviously I didn't mention to her I was any form of trans, but that hit really close to my head. And considering I was Catholic at this time, I think that's why it affected me so much, was because I was Catholic. That's how I identified. That's essentially down to my core who I was Catholic. And that's all I'd ever known, all I'd ever been raised. And so, I never mentioned anything about queer stuff around her. And she never really mentioned it around me either. But there was one time where I saw her going into a homophobic, anti-gay meeting at our church. I saw a flyer for it and I knew she went. And it's so weird. Because it was like living a double life. I didn't identify as a girl, but I was a girl enough. But I knew I wasn't straight. No matter what sexuality it was, I wasn't straight. I was pan. Pansexual or panromantic, which is technically what I use, it's panromantic because I don't have. Okay, pansexual means you have sexual and usually implied romantic attraction to anyone not dependent on their gender. But basically, you don't care what's in their pants. And that's kind of how I identify it for me. And panromantic is romantic attraction, not sexual attraction. And I'll get more into that a bit later, because this point in the story I hadn't quite figured, it out. But I knew I liked people. And I had secretly dated a lot of people. And that's one of my biggest regrets, actually, is dating a lot of people. Definitely. 6th grade is when I got my first phone, which was actually from a boyfriend I had at the time. Which I honestly wish I didn't date him. We're going to call him Dan. Okay, we're going to call him Dan. Not his name, but we're going to call him Dan. Me and Dan were really close friends. He was my best friend since elementary school. And so, everyone would always bully me for being friends with dudes. They would, be like, oh, you obviously dislike them. Why don't you want to play with girls? I also got bullied a lot for dressing like a boy. I only would get new shoes like once, maybe twice a year. And I got these Star Wars light up Skechers. And I loved them. They were Darth Vader, one of my favorite Star Wars characters, and still is to this day. And I wore them every day because they were my favorite shoe. I was so excited by them because they were so cool and they lit up and they had Star Wars on them and who wouldn't like a Star Wars shoe? The answer is my elementary school. I would get bullied for wearing boy shoes. I would be bullied for dressing like a boy and wearing boy clothes. And I realized very quickly that it wasn't okay to dress how I liked dressing. And I think that's another reason why I built such internalized transphobia and why it took so long for me to figure myself out. So, yeah. Anyway, back to middle school. I had a phone, and so I could look things up. And I was starting to explore more and more labels and figuring myself out. And I stuck with non-binary. I didn't tell everyone, and no one really respected my pronouns. I never really corrected anyone. I wanted to be like them, but I looked like a girl. People thought I was a girl. Even if I told them I was non-binary, they still called me, their girlfriend if we were dating. They would still use she, her, and I didn't say anything. I was a huge people pleaser, which I think is another reason why it took me so long for me to come out. But when I stopped trying to please everyone so much, I was able to make myself happy and work on myself. And that was really helpful for me to finally let go of other people's opinions. So, high school happens. Oh, it happens, alright. And, I just go on with my life. The bowling got fairly worse, but I really tried to over-feminize myself. I thought I had to be feminine to be pretty. I thought if I looked masculine or I had short hair, I couldn't be pretty. And I had short hair for the majority of my childhood, and I would get bullied for that short hair. So I think that's why that narrative got driven into my head. I'll put a picture of here of me with long hair when I was younger with short hair, I'll put some here. And I refused to cut my hair. At first I wasn't allowed to grow out my hair. When I got older and I could take care of myself, they let me, and I used the excuse I was going to donate it to charity. I didn't donate it to charity. Sorry about that, but we'll get to that later. I wanted to look and be a girl. I didn't feel like one, but I wanted everyone to perceive me as super feminine and super girly. The girlier, the better. And I questioned my sexuality a few times, but I ignored my gender. Anytime I felt like I wasn't, non-binary, I just ignored it and I focused on something else. I didn't want to deal with the idea of me being wrong about my gender identity. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to process the fact I could be a boy, or maybe identified as something else, or maybe I was a girl and just didn't feel that identity, and I just ignored it. Which I wouldn't quite recommend, but, it's what I did. And so I just ignored. I did hop through a few different sexuality labels. At one time I thought maybe I was a lesbian. I'm not, but I really did go through a lot of labels and figuring out my sexuality. Around the end of high school, junior year, not senior, junior year, I figured out I was on the asexual spectrum, which means I don't have sexual attraction. I am not sex repulsed. I'm not quite sure if I am demi or if I am ace. Demi means I need to have a strong connection with someone to gain sexual attraction for them, and ace means you don't have sexual attraction for people, or at all. You just don't have sexual attraction. Okay, and I'm not sex repulsed. I'm not anti-sex. I don't find it gross or weird. Which lots of people think, if you're ace, you must be sex repulsed. No. So, I'm either ace or demi, and I'm still figuring that part out, but that's why I'm not pansexual. that is why I'm either ace or demi and panromantic. Junior year, COVID hit. Around March, 2020, very fun year. And I was kind of stuck to be alone with my thoughts. I couldn't really go anywhere. I couldn't really do anything. I lived in a really controlling, again, religious household. And so I stayed in my room to avoid everyone and everything that I could. And when I did that, I was stuck with my own thoughts, which both good and bad. Like most people, my mental health plummeted really bad in 2020. And yeah, I started to question my sexuality. Well, not my sexuality, my gender. I knew my sexuality down pat by then. I started to question my gender. I started dressing a bit more mask here and there. I put my hair up in hats, and it gave me this sense of euphoria to look like a boy. And I told my boyfriend at the time, back to I regret dating as much as I did, but anyway, my boyfriend at the time. We'll call him Gandhi, which is a nickname me and my best friend have for him. So we're going to call him Gandhi. I told him that I thought I was a boy. He didn't like that. He told me I was wrong. He said that if I transitioned and cut my hair, I'd be ugly, that he wouldn't love me anymore if I was a boy. And so I dropped it. I didn't say anything, and I dropped the idea of me being a boy. Because if me being a boy was that bad, then I didn't want to be one. I didn't want to be a boy. If I was going to lose someone, that meant a lot to me. And so I dropped it. I dropped it for a while. I ended up moving out of my biological family's house late June in 2020. And that's the best decision I've ever made. That was the best decision I have ever made in my life. Because now I live with my family. My chosen family, my adoptive family, and I love them. My adoptive mother is the best woman on this planet. Okay? I love her so much. Well, I've only lived with her for a year. She has been more of a mother to me than my biological mother. And I don't mean that to stab my biological mom. It's just, my biological mom never was really in my life. That's just how my life worked out. But my adopted mom is my mother. I view her as my mom. If I ever get married, I may not want to wear a dress, but I would take her with me suit shopping to look at different things. Like, my future kids will call her grandma. Same with my adopted dad. He will be their grandpa if I ever have kids, which I plan to. I love them a lot. And so I moved in. And then January of 2021 rolled around. I started really questioning my gender. I saw the song Daughter by Ryan, I think Castia. I'll put the thumbnail here, and it'll be in the description for you to go watch if you want. And I had watched it before years ago, and it just popped back up on my recommended page on YouTube. And so I watched it, and I felt so connected to the video and to the lyrics. And so it kind of hit me that I might be a boy. Like, it kind of just hit me that maybe I'm a boy. But I didn't want to actually acknowledge it. So I just went on. But throughout January, I got more and more recommendations on YouTube of TikTok compilations of trans people, specifically FDM. I would see people getting their binders for the first time, like starting testosterone, getting top surgery, and I was so happy just for them, but I was so jealous, and I realized that I wanted that. I wanted to be that. I wanted to get top surgery. I wanted to have a binder. I wanted to start testosterone. I wanted to be a boy. I wanted to achieve all the other people were achieving, to be themselves, and I wanted that. And so the first person I came out to is my very close friend Brennan. And I was kind of scared because I didn't know what his thoughts were on the LGBTQ plus community. So I told him, and he was really supportive about it. He was really sweet, and he started calling me bro, and he still kind of jokes about things with me, like, you know, every guy experiences this and that, and it was so nice. Like, yeah. One thing that took me a really hard time to accept myself as trans, as a dude, was I still like feminine things. And the masculinity that is forced on guys, like toxic masculinity. You're made to feel that you can't be a dude if you are feminine anyway. And I kind of applied that to myself. I thought because I like makeup, because I sometimes like to wear dresses or skirts, and sometimes I like feeling pretty, I can't be a boy. I'm too girly to be a boy. And so I felt like I couldn't call myself a boy if I still liked makeup, if I still liked being girly. I felt like I was wrong. I'm not. I am a boy, but I'm a very feminine boy. And that took a really long time for me to accept. And I think that's why it was so hard for me to come out to myself. So I came out to Brennan. The next people I came out to was not my adoptive mom and dad, but some other people who are adopted parentals to me. I came out to them and my best friend Tara at the same time. I almost didn't come out that day because Simone was over and they kind of got a little drunk and they were being very extreme and had misgendered me a few times. Even though they knew I was non-binary, I started to get more and more upset, and I almost couldn't do it. But I did it because I had spent the entire day trying to make a cake to come out with. But I had so many mess ups with this cake. So many mess ups. I wasn't about to take all that time I have spent on that cake and not present it. So I presented it. After dinner, I pulled everyone to the kitchen again, and I pulled up the cake. And everyone was really accepting. The one person was being kind of rude apologized, and they were like, oh, I'm so sorry, and so not a single harsh feeling here. And so I came out to them. And then the next people I came out to was my friends, like the rest of my friends. Came out to my friend Josh, and at first his response was kind of upsetting, but he turned to be one of the most supporting people ever. He gave me a pronoun mask with my he/they pronouns on it, and here, let me grab it. So I have never used it, and I doubt I am going to. But my friend Josh gave me this Bath and Body Works men's collection 3-in-1 and gave it to me because he said that he thought I might like it. It's a men's thing, and it was awkward, but he's trying. And it's so gender affirming and so, it gives me so much joy to see people just trying. Because I don't expect everyone to be perfect. I don't expect everyone to switch overnight, because I am so feminine. I either sound like a 13-year-old boy or definitely very, very girly, and I have a very feminine form. And those are some things that are really hard for me, but people are really working on it, and it makes me really happy. The next people I came out to were my adoptive mom and dad. I was so nervous. I was so scared. I was so scared it would go bad. I don't know why. I thought maybe something would go bad. And I was so scared because I didn't want to lose everything I had. I didn't want to lose my family. I didn't want to lose the life I had. We were sitting down in Cheddar's. My dad ordered that type of like sandwich. I think it's a cheese and ham sandwich that's like fried and you dip in a jam with powdered sugar or something. My dad ordered that. My mom got southern green beans. I don't remember. I think she also got mashed potatoes that day. And I got the bourbon glazed salmon with southern green beans and coleslaw, I think. Either that or broccoli. And we sat down, and I said, Mom and Dad, I have to tell you something. And they said, okay, I got their attentions. And I told them, hey, you know how I identify as non-binary? And I have for a while. I don't think that's the correct fit for me. I think I'm a boy. The more I think about it, I think I'm trans. I think I'm a boy. And they said, okay. They didn't get mad, they didn't yell, and they said, okay. I doubt they ever would have yelled, but it was so nice. I was so scared. Probably more scared than I should have been, but I was still scared. Thanks, Mir. And when I say I love them, I mean I love them a lot. After dinner, we went to Valentines of America, and I got my first ever boy clothes there. Which I still wear, of course, because, you know, it's June now. Got these back in, like, January, February. One of the last of my friends I came out to was the person I was talking to at the time and who is now my partner. And I was terrified because we had been on a few dates, but every time we'd been on a date, I was very female presenting. And so I was super scared that they weren't gonna like me anymore if I didn't look like a girl. Which I guess is residual, you know, trauma from Gandhi. But just in general, I was really scared. And so I told them. And then they immediately just accepted and just changed their language. And now we're officially dating. We have been for almost 4 months. They call me their boyfriend or their partner. And they make jokes. And they call me a boy. And they don't treat me any less. They don't treat me like I'm a girl. They fully act like they view me as a boy. And I love them so much. My partner, they're non-binary and they're awesome, and I can definitely say I'm in love with them. And not just because they're supportive, but because they are my best friend. Truly my best friend, but also, you know, my partner. I tell them everything. I feel like I can tell them everything. And what's better than being with your best friend? I decided to do a little zoom in for the makeup, so woo, hope it doesn't look too bad. So yeah, my parents still aren't perfect with the pronouns, but they work on it. My mom started referring to me as her kid and tries to make sure that she's at least using they. My dad's referred to me a few times as his son. Not a lot. Usually calls me his kid and sometimes his daughter, but it's happened once or twice. And he'll make like jokes about things I need to do to be a boy and all these like dumb little things. And I guess to most people it wouldn't really matter, but to me it matters because it shows effort. It shows so much, and it makes me so happy. My biological dad was very accepting. My biological mom knows, but is not happy about it. She very much, she insists on me spelling my name like this, which is the feminine way. And she doesn't want me to spell it how I do, which is this, because it's the masculine way, which is the whole point, but you know. It's so much harder for me to come out with my sexuality than my gender, because I can hide my sexuality. I can hide that. I can't hide my gender. Once I'm out transitioning, I can't really hide that. Even now, I'm starting to look more and more masculine and dress so, and you can't hide that from people. You can't hide it. Coming out is hard as all heck. Because you get that question of, will I be accepted? You get that question of, did I do something wrong? You get that feeling that you might be rejected by everyone you love because of either who you love or who you are, and it sucks, and it's such a scary feeling. So yeah, I definitely still am fighting with internalized transphobia. I still feel like sometimes if I can't be a boy, or it's not right for me to be a boy, and there are times where I feel like I'm never gonna be a boy, which isn't really transphobia, but that's just, you know, fears, personal feelings and doubts and all that goodness. And so you definitely live with this fear a lot. But having a supportive family who is trying, having the world's best friend, Tara, and having an amazing partner, Carter, it helps so much. Like, it changes everything for you. And I know not everyone has a support system, but I recommend trying to find your family. I want to remind you that blood is thicker than water, but so is tar. And do you want to be stuck to someone by tar? Because you can't get away from them, and it's painful, and it hurts you. It would hurt you physically to be connected to someone by tar. And sometimes that blood in your family is really tar. And family is not blood. Family is who you decide is your family. People who are blood related, those are your relatives. But your family is who you make it to be. And I really mean that. And I don't mean that in like a cheesy way. I mean, you decide your family. No one else can decide that for you. They can't. So, I just want to remind you guys, you can always be yourself one day. And I know that it feels like right now you can't be, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. You always have a chance somewhere. There's always a better possibility for you, and you don't need to be worried. I know that you were stressed and that you were scared, and I want to remind you, do not come out if you do not feel safe. If you don't have a place to go, if you know bad might happen if you come out to you or someone else and cause physical harm, do not come out until you're safe. And I mean this. And I don't want to be like, oh, you shouldn't come out, blah, 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 blah. No, you should come out, but when you are ready. Don't let anyone push you to be ready. Don't come out when you are not ready. And don't come out when you're not somewhere safe. Because it honestly, I don't think people realize that it can be a life or death situation for some people with coming out. And for me, if I ever came out to my biological family, I know a lot of bad things would have happened. And I don't live there anymore, so now I can be myself. And I'm 18 now. I have choice over who I am and who I want to be and who I want in my life, which I didn't have before. But now I do. I can't think of one thing that is scary that I've had to experience besides coming out. And I don't mean that as like a joke. I genuinely can't think of anything that was more anxiety-inducing than having to sit down and come out to my family. I mean, some people, it was scarier than others, but it was always scary. It was never not scary. Especially when it came out to my adoptive parents. That was so scary. And so was coming out to Carter, because we weren't officially dating yet, and I was terrified. I'm not quite sure what else to say, but I want you to know you're loved. I want to let you know that there's someone out there who loves you. And even if you don't feel it, even if you don't think you are lovable or you don't deserve it, you do. You deserve every good thing. You don't deserve the bad, you don't deserve the negative. And those who have told you that are wrong. Those who have told you anything negative are wrong. Because you are wonderful. You are worth love, you are worth time, you are worth it. You're worth everything. And I don't want you to feel like you're less than because of other people. I, Ray Matthew Mackenzie, I'm a trans man. I am feminine, and that's okay. That doesn't take away anything from my identity. I am pan-romantic, and I'm asexual, and I'm worthy of love. And so is everyone else on this planet. So thanks for watching. Yeah. I'm trans. This has probably been the hardest video to make because it's not scripted and it's hard being vulnerable to any extent. But because I know they are watching, Mom, Dad, or Aubrey and Todd, same people, I love you. And I don't mind dedicating my videos to you, and I don't mind mentioning you in my coming out video because you are a very big part of it. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't feel accepted and I wouldn't feel loved to the degree I do. I probably would have never come out, at least not until I was much older, if I didn't have you as parents. I don't feel scared to be myself. You guys are so supportive of me in every project I do. You make those things I feel insecure about a little less worth and that makes me happy. While, of course, we sometimes butt heads like any parents and kids do, you've given me a big opportunity to be myself. So thank you. I love you very much. And everyone else who I've come out to and supported me, thank you. Thank you a lot. Because it's still kind of hard for me to tell people I'm trans sometimes because I don't feel like I look it. But it's so nice to have people loving and supporting. I do have to say I won't allow any hate on this video, obviously, because this video is for me. Partially the reason I'm coming out is it's Pride Month, and also because I wanted to post again. But it's important for me to come out publicly, and this is what this is for me. So obviously, if you don't agree with me or whatever, this isn't like a belief. It isn't like it's not an opinion. It's I'm a boy, and it's a fact. And I guess you don't have to be the happiest about it, but I'm just not accepting any hate on this video. Anyway, I love you. You're loved, you're wonderful, and thank you so much for watching this video. I'll be back soon with crime and makeup videos, and if you want anything else, let me know. Have a great day.